all those moments will be lost in time.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about scams. Isn't that fun? So I know that we're all familiar with catfishing and general scams of like those emails you get of someone saying that there's some prince from somewhere and they just need a little loan of so-and-so dollars and then you'll be in their will, or ones saying that you're straight up in their will. You just need to give them your social security. Like there are a lot of those going around, and I think most of us are fairly familiar with all of that. That being said, I think there are groups of people who spend less time on the internet, namely older people who, have no reason to really spend time on the internet, and good for them because this place can really be a hellhole. And they get basically screwed over because they don't know about these scams. And to be fair, some scams can be quite realistic looking. I know that basically every week at my house, I get a letter that's supposed to be from my bank or from some landlord, and it looks completely legitimate until you open it and read it and you're like, no. But, it's a danger. So watch out for what you guys are signing for and paying for because it's a real thing. But anyway, before we get into that, I did want to thank today's sponsor, which is Adam and Eve. Before we get into this video, as you know, content like this is often demonetized, so I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve is America's favorite adult store. Not only does it come with discreet packaging, but they also donate 20% of their profit to help fight the spread of HIV around the world. They also have a 24/7 customer service and have 90-day no-hassle returns. If you go to adamandeve.com and use code GLARE, you'll get 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada. Thank you, Adam and Eve, for sponsoring this. So I found this article discussing quote-unquote romance scams because that's what they're being referred to. And this story is kind of crazy just because it is so up and down, because there's obviously an expectation of, yeah, someone got scammed, duh. But this story is a lot. It was a gut punch inside the cruel world of online romance scams. In 2019, lonely, lovesick Americans were swindled out of nearly half $500 million by scammers set on taking advantage of their vulnerability. Now, I want to say one thing that really fucks me up about this is that, I don't know if the scammers know this or not, but I'd wager they do know, is that they are preying on specifically people who have lost their significant others. And when I say lost, I mean forever. So death, not just a breakup. And breakups are bad enough, but they're preying on people who are particularly vulnerable and who might have, money because they're older and life insurance and all that. So it hits me different because I find it more perverse, let's put it that way. A decade ago, Debbie Montgomery Johnson was suffering from the ultimate heartbreak. Her husband of nearly 27 years had recently died of a heart attack, and for the first time in decades, the Florida woman was on her own. Roughly 6 months after her spouse passed, Johnson decided to give the internet dating a try. In 2010, the former military intelligence official and banking executive met a mysterious man on a Christian dating website. His name was Eric Cole. The 55-year-old claimed to be a successful entrepreneur from London who, like Johnson, was recently widowed. Johnson said she was enamored. The internet stranger was charming, attractive, and knew how to make her laugh. That's what makes me sad about this. Obviously, the scamming in and of itself is reprehensible, to say the least, but I don't really think we need to say that. But the fact that it's someone putting themselves out there again, that's, I think, the thing that pisses me off the most about these things, is that you're taking advantage of someone who probably had a lot of difficulty putting themselves out there again, or putting themselves out there at all. It's difficult in the first place, let alone after you've gone through something like losing your partner of almost 30 years. I don't know who could do this. It's gross. It's disgusting. It makes me really angry which I'm going to try to control. Falling asleep alone at night, she said, had become a chore. However, her crippling grief, accompanied by insomnia, was replaced by an exhilarating new companionship. Late-night online chat sessions with Cole became a staple of her work week. For the first time since her husband died, Johnson felt a semblance of peace. The endorphins were just overflowing, she said. We could have these great conversations. We would chat for hours. Hours in the middle of the night. It was the one time I wasn't sad. See, now this makes me want to find the dude who did this and actually hunt him down and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because you have this widow, she's already suffering, she's already going through it. You're giving her false hope, you're giving her a great time, and then you're just... All I'm saying is, if this happened to me when I was a widow, it would be my villain origin story. Just saying. Their virtual dates, Johnson described, often took place between midnight and 4 a.m. in between grueling 17-hour workdays in which she balanced her job as a school district treasurer with running her late husband's online health supplement company. That would be the only time to release the emotions I had of him dying, Johnson said. Cole presented himself as a prominent globe-trotting contractor and jet-setter who split his time between Houston, Texas, and Malaysia. As the couple began mapping their future, Cole began asking for money. Johnson obliged. At first, the transfers weren't for big amounts. It all starts small, she stated. Johnson said she began sending him $1,500 installments via Western Union. The money, he insisted, was for a variety of things. His family in the UK, living expenses, food, and hotels. The amounts gradually increased. In one instance, she sent $7,000 supposedly to cover legal fees for her new boyfriend. Johnson later borrowed $100,000 from her father and wired it to Cole to cover outstanding tariffs he supposedly owed for exporting building materials in India. The thing that bothers me, the thing that truly, truly bothers me here is the lengths to which she went for him. And that's not a critique on her at all, because I think that when you really love someone or when you really care about someone, you're going to do anything and everything you can to give them everything and anything they want if you can do it. And that's something that I appreciate about relationships, is that you really go the extra mile to make sure they have what they want. Right? Which usually is a positive thing, and usually something that you're like, oh, that's so cute. Okay, whatever. Here, I'm ready to throw hands. Here I'm ready to get mad because I feel really bad for this widow. And some people might say she should have known better. And I agree that in some respects, she should be more informed. This will be her lesson. But at the same time, it's like, if you're married for 30 years, I doubt you're on the internet and you know all these things about internet dating and you know about all the scams that are going on. So I feel like you're part of the not only vulnerable crowd, but the extremely vulnerable crowd, because it's not like you're just emotionally vulnerable. You're vulnerable on another level, because if you're not looking for dates online for 30 years and then you suddenly do, how are you expected to know, you're not going to be in the zeitgeist, basically. The shipping company is levying a tax on the shipment, which is now sitting in port, Cole wrote her. Us contractors are solely responsible for every expense incurred, but don't worry, the profits will be mouth-watering. You will be paid back as soon as they get to the States. But in September 2012, Montgomery received a cryptic and heartbreaking message from her online crush. What do you know about forgiveness? He wrote in an instant message. I know this will break you down inside. I confess to you my wrong deeds of scamming you all along. He concluded by messaging, it is sad, but there is no Eric Cole. Johnson was wrecked. It was a gut punch, she said. It was worse than my late husband's passing because I was a part of it, and I gave him $1 million. Part of the scam ripped my heart out. Talk about having the rug pulled out from under you emotionally, spiritually, financially. It was devastating. Then, to her surprise, the scam artist revealed himself on a live video chat. A man purportedly in Lagos, Nigeria, smiled back at her. His name, he said, was Joseph. When I saw him, I thought, holy moly, what did I do here? But the damage, both emotionally and financially, was done. After nearly 2 years, the relationship had drained her life savings. Johnson had sent Cole more than $1 million in the short time span. Johnson liquidated retirement accounts, sold tens of thousands of dollars in jewelry, and unloaded investments to fund her fake boyfriend. In the end, Johnson found herself $50,000 in debt to the International Revenue Service. The foreign con man was never caught. The FBI told me they were sorry I was a victim of manipulation, and unless I could get him into the States, there was nothing they could do, Johnson said. She suspects multiple people assisted her perpetrator in executing the scam. $1 million. Good God. Can you imagine being catfished for $1 million? Like, putting aside all the emotional pain, which I think is the heaviest of all the burdens here, I just can't imagine being $50,000 in the hole for someone who's not really even there for you, who's never been there for you. That's, I think the sting on that must be so horrible, and it's horrible all around. You know, there's no way that this is acceptable, nice, whatever, but it just, I think, adds an extra sting when you're putting yourself out there, first of all, when you've been through something, which is the loss of a spouse. And then on top of that, you're putting yourself in the hole with the IRS of all people, which I would never want to have to deal with the IRS in my whole life, except for tax season when I pay my taxes. That is the only time I want to deal with the IRS. And that is stressful enough, let me tell you. So I feel really bad for her and anyone who deals with things like that. And I think it's really perverse that there are people who do that. But then again, there are murderers, there are people who commit worse crimes than that. So should I be surprised? No. But every time I see things like this, you know, you inevitably think about your grandparents or, you know, some older person in your life that you're just kind of like, who could see this person and try to hurt them, you know? And I know that my grandpa himself, actually, there was some person on the street who tried to scam him, and thank God someone in my family was there to be like, no, 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 no. But it's really disgusting how older people are preyed upon with these fucked up narratives of like, oh, I'll give you back this money, and it just bothers me. Anyways, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.